me out in V like, but don't talk it all. That's really not the truth, I just don't fuck with y'all. I'm only with a few and yeah, my circle's small. Or either by my Danny Ruger in my drawers. Ain't trying to be no tough guy, it's just time race. The softest niggas gangster in the mid-state. My grandma said you lose, you better fight again. At the age of 13.
What's going on? What's going on? Hey, yo, we are back in the building. You know what it is. We took a little small intermission break, but you know what it is, man. This is the show that y'all have came to see. Y'all got y'all popcorn ready. Y'all got y'all soda together. Hey, yo, it's going to be another great show. You know how we do. Convo with a boss. Hey, yo, I got Toy the ATL Vegan in the building, as usual. How you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
Yo, I cannot complain. You know, we got a nice little show for y'all today, man. We're going to talk about some things that I think everybody, no matter what age group, should be focused on and should be, you know, you're never too old to learn new things, especially myself. So Toy is going to break a lot of stuff down as far as this credit game. And, you know, we all like to think that just because we got money in our pocket that we can have everything. But a lot of things money can't buy, credit can definitely get you. So, yo, if you got any kids that's in college, I think y'all should invite them in the room, tell them, you know, send this link to them. They going to definitely get a lot out this show, because if I would have knew some of the things that I know now when I was in college, oh my God, you don't understand where we be right now. We'd be on a big old boat right now, just kicking it, chilling, drinking lemonade, some tea, whatever. I'm trying to tell you, you would definitely want to get this show for your kids, your nieces, your nephews, whoever. Even call your brother and sister that's just restarting their life over. Call them over, because we about to get it in tonight. So, how's your week been?
I had a good week. First and foremost, today is Memorial Day, so we want to recognize all of the active service members, but we also want to recognize those who have fallen during their line of service. So we recognize you and we appreciate you, and especially my son who's in the Navy. Thank you for your service, son. I've already told him that, but for the rest of the active members and those who've lost their lives in the line of duty, we want to tell you that we realize freedom ain't free. And we appreciate your service and we thank you for it. The rest of my week has been good. No complaints. I've learned that, you just got to keep it moving. And, I'm kind of super tired, but yeah, let's do it. Let's get some knowledge about this credit out there.
Yo, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. You know, we can't start the show without talking a little bit about sports. But before we get in that, I want to dedicate this show to a good friend of mine, Dimitri Kidd. Passed away a week ago. Very shocking to us. I can't say too much or too little about him. He was a brother. If you knew Kid, man, you knew he was gonna make you laugh, and he was gonna play the hell out some spades, man, like for sure. I met him years ago at work, and we became close like brothers, man. Countless stories I could talk about, but just I'm gonna give a moment of silence for him. Love you, bro. Love you, man. So,
My condolences.
okay, so yo, let's do this. NBA action is going on right now. It's getting real thick. It's down to 4 teams. On the West, you got the Mavs and you got the Wolves going at it. On the East, you got the Celtics and you got the Pacers. I'm kind of shocked by the Pacers, but we could talk about. Let's talk about the West. Let's talk about the Wolves is down 0-3 to the Mavs, to that Luka and that Kyrie. What's going on? What's going on? What do you see is the biggest issue far as Minnesota's play? Like, is it production off the bench? Is it the stars are not showing up at the brightest moment? Like, what is it?
See, the thing that gets me most is all 3 games were close.
Yeah.
That's the thing that gets me. Do you see what I mean? Which lets me know that they were winnable. Yes. By Minnesota. So if you know me, if you've been listening to me, I rep Atlanta hard. So anywhere Anthony Edwards is, or, I can't. Okay, I'm lying because I will not root for Boston, even though Jaylen Brown is running with Boston.
Okay.
Okay, Wheeler High School in the building. I used to watch him play in high school. I'm not rooting for Boston. I don't like Boston. Maybe
Yeah.
I root for Boston if it's Boston and the Mavs. I don't know, but I roll with Anthony Edwards all day long because he's so hood and I love him for it. I really do. I love him for being so Atlanta, right? So
Right.
I think he showed up. I just think that they're a young team, Cuddy, and I think is their inexperience. See, because if you've been in that kind of position, you know what kind of dog it takes to elevate at that level. Like this ain't play time. Like I know they beat the champs and maybe they underestimated the Mavs. I don't know. But like Anthony Edwards said, he's been through some things and he still ain't worried. Now, if they win this game tomorrow and then they go back to Minnesota and then they win that game, I'll have some life in me right now. I mean, I'm still rolling with them regardless. But I mean, it's looking kind of bleak right now.
I'm I'm gonna like this. I think they're gonna get one game. I so when I talk sports, when we and you not conversating on the show about sports, I talk with my cousin Casey, and I told him if you're the Mavs, you only want to get one game. You only want to get one out of the first two. They got the first one. I was like, okay, they got the first one, got that one out the way. Yo, they finna do this. They came back. I think it might have been down 18 points.
Yes.
So this is my problem. They came back from 18 points to win by 1 point that game, the second game.
Yeah.
The first game, I think they won by 1 point.
Yeah.
The last game, I think they won by 1 point.
Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. The games were close.
But this the problem with the close part. They were only close because they let the Mavs come back. The last two games, Mavs was down. No, take that back. The last game, they was tied, like going into the fourth. It was 87-87. Then I think they went down maybe like 6 or 7 points and came back. They
lost one of them. They lost that second game by 2 points, and that's when Kyrie hit that three.
Yep.
So I think that second game they lost by 2 points, and then this third one on Saturday night, I think they lost by one.
So I believe it's this. I believe a lot of it has to do with experience and that killer instinct. When you got somebody down, you got to be able to put them down. You can't let them come all the way back.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's with the coach. I don't know if it's just the players being young and not being in that environment or experience before. Because this is probably the first time they even got out the first round in years. So it's just like you've never been at this part. It's kind of like reminds me of when the Warriors played Portland, and it would have been the same year that Lillard hit that three on what was that OKC. He hit that step back three and put it in. It was it was OKC because they were playing Paul George, and it was that same year they ran into the Warriors that year. And when they ran into the Warriors, they were so hyped. They were like, "Yeah, this is our year." And they ran into the Warriors and they got swept. This reminds me of that. They didn't have that experience because they hadn't got out the first round for a long time, and they never beat the Warriors at that point. So when they ran into the Warriors, that first game was theirs, but they ended up losing it, and after that, it was a done deal. And I think that's what it is. I believe this. I believe Minnesota has a team that they can still continue to build around and get better. I think this, if they do lose in 5 or 6, they take that experience and come back stronger next year. And it puts them in a position where they've played in certain type of crunch games and been down and tried to come back. And it builds like character. But I don't think they're coming back from 03.
I mean,
that's hard to do.
You might be right. I'm just simply telling you what Anthony Edwards said because of the, adversity he's been through with, losing his mom and his grandma in the same year. There's nothing harder than that, he said. So he doesn't believe that anything's impossible. He don't think the sky is falling. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
He thinks that we can still do this thing. And so, if he believes it, believe it. See, this is what people don't know. When you play sports, if you've not been an athlete, when you play sports, believing you can, you're halfway there. That's the thing. A lot of it is mental.
It's all mental.
We'll see. I just need for their players to be consistent on the board, offensive and defensive. I need some rebounds. A lot of the points were in the paint and we weren't rebounding. And I was looking like, why y'all not rebounding? I need for Cat to show up because he's a superstar. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ant just can't do it either. And then I need y'all to stay out of foul trouble. I forgot to say that first. This little kid with them thick braids, I don't know his name. Is it with that headband?
I know what you're talking about. I can't think
You
his
get in
name.
foul trouble every game, sir. Sir, I need you to stay out of foul trouble. But also, Conley got in foul trouble the other night. He's the facilitator. You can't have that because he can bring them down. Like, if he's not on the floor, the whole play changes. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. Now let's go to Boston and the Pacers. I think Halliburton, once they lost Halliburton, see they had a close game too. They lost by what, 2 or 3?
Yeah, 2 or 3 that first game.
The games weren't that close with Halliburton playing. But I think they're gonna get one. They might win tonight.
I think that I think Boston hears a lot of people talking. And I think I'm one of the people that they might have heard talking when I said that if they don't get over this hump and they don't win this year, what do you do with that team? Do you run it back, or do you start selling some pieces off and trying to rebuild and come back? And I think that a lot of people have been talking about just them going up against any of those 2 teams in the West. If it's the Mavs or even it's the Timberwolves, can they compete without Porzingis? Because it's a different ball game when they're going against the West teams.
Oh, for sure.
Charles
Barkley and Draymond Green was talking about it on NBA Countdown. They were just saying that Boston hasn't really gone up against a true team, right?
Right.
And so I agree with that.
So I think I'm still shocked by the Pacers getting to where they're getting. I didn't expect them to get this far this year. I thought maybe a year or 2, especially when they made a couple trades. So I'm impressed by what they've done so far. But do I feel like this is an Eastern Conference championship? No, by far. No.
One more thing, and then we can get into the real true content for tonight. But Jason Tatum said a while back, he said, listen, he said, we remember what it feels like last year and the year before. He said, we've heard the people saying, that we're not a contender. He said, I've never forgotten that feeling. So you got to understand when Jason get in that zone, he really be in the zone. Like, sometimes he'll be like iffy, he'll be streaky. But when he get in that zone, it's a wrap. So I think he's had it in his head that, okay, I'm going to show them. And we going to have to see. We're going to have to see, like, I just hope my team wins tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. And that's all. That's it.
But now, before we get into this, I do have to say this. What is the storyline looking like if you got the Celtics against the Mavs? You got Luka finally got over that hump. And who did they compare Luka to all the time? Larry Bird. Then you got Kyrie going back to Boston, a place that he didn't want to be at. And now you're going against the team and the whole Kyrie hate that he had experienced with last year about he should retire. Even Stephen A. Smith talking about he don't deserve to even play this game and all this other crazy stuff. Man, he can't be a good teammate. Yeah, and he's been balling this whole year. It's going to be a great storyline, but it goes to like what sells for finals. Storyline sells the finals.
Right.
I'm just saying. So tonight we're going to talk about, it's kind of part 2 of where we left off at. We was talking about being a college student and creating debt. And one of the ways that we created debt as college students was easily accepting credit cards and not understanding what credit is. Mm-hmm. So tonight we're going to talk about where can credit get you that cash, money, dollars, dollar bill, y'all, cannot get y'all. In today's society, credit is ran all day long. They run your credit when you're going for apartments. Mm-hmm. They even run your credit when you're going for certain jobs. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know that. So
a lot of people be getting turned down for jobs and they're not sure why. They run your credit.
And that's crazy. So
They don't have to tell you that they're running your credit. They don't
no,
have
they
to
don't.
give you an explanation as to why you didn't get the job, but they running your credit.
Exactly. So I got ask you straight off top. Where can credit take me that my cash can't take me?
Your credit can get you into meetings with people that you want to start businesses with. Your credit can get you in a room full of people who, let's just say, if you're interested in starting a business, right?
Right.
And then let's go back to the people who check your credit when you are applying for some jobs, right?
Right.
If you're applying for some jobs, and let's just say you're not directly dealing with money, but you have access to um, pertinent information, why wouldn't they check your credit? I would expect them to. You're being trusted with some very, very, like, I don't want to say top secret, but yeah, it is information. If you can't manage your own credit, they're looking at you like, okay, what are we doing here?
Right.
I got to tell you, I can't blame them for that. Now, um, if you are interested in starting a business, and let's say you don't know very much about it, let's just say, for the sake that I'm in Atlanta, which I am, and
Okay.
I want to start a franchise with Slutty Vegan, the headquarters of the, you can start a franchise with Slutty Vegan. So, if I want to, call up Pinky Cole and or talk to somebody that may not necessarily be Pinky Cole, but some of her people, and I say, hey, I'm interested in starting a franchise. They're not just going to take a meeting with you. They're going to check your credentials. They're going to check your credit. They're going to see if you're serious about starting this business. So people got to understand, everybody is always saying, oh, I'm after that bag. I'm after that bag. Your credit is your bag, because your credit will get you a lot of places that cash won't get you. For example, um, if you want to, if I said, Cuddy, I want to go into business with you, and you say, well, okay, do you have any collateral? And you say, no, but I got cash. How do I know that you can manage the business, right?
Right.
You have to have something that precedes you. And when I say that, I mean, you have to have something other than your word to let a businessman know that, hey, I manage my own credit properly, and you can trust me when it comes to making business decisions. Um, I wanna let our listeners and our subscribers know that the first thing when we're dealing with credit that we should do is we should create an account with somebody like Credit Karma, or an account where you can monitor your credit. And I
Okay.
mean regularly. That is the first thing that I did. And I'll be the first to tell you, um, let's see, I've had like, and I'll elaborate on this later. I've had like, I'm in a category of excellent credit. So there's there's okay credit, and I think that's from like 570 to 650 or something like that.
Hmm.
And then there's good credit, which is from like 650 to like 700 maybe. And then I think, or 750, and then I think 800 and above is excellent credit, right?
Right. Right.
So in those categories, so when people talk to you and they say, I want to go into business with you, they're either looking, I'm gonna be real with you, they're looking for excellent credit. They're not gonna put any of their resources on the line. They're not gonna let you help them manage a business, or even consider going into business with you if you have okay credit or good credit, right? They want
Right.
you to have excellent credit because they want to say, okay, so and also the longevity of how long you've had good credit or excellent credit. Some people may let you pass with good credit. It just depends. Some people go through divorces. Some people go blah blah blah. It could just depends on why you have good credit rather than just decent credit, right? If you
Right.
go through a divorce, you can explain that to them, and then you can say, okay, but I've had this ever since my divorce, so my credit is now good. But if you have excellent credit and you've maintained that excellent credit for, let's say, 5 to 7 years, they say, okay, they're about their business. They know how to manage their money. What, Cuddy, what will cash tell you other than the fact that you have cash about a person that wants to go into business with you?
It's gonna just basically tell me you got it right now.
Okay. So if The first thing I said is to get on like a credit monitoring system such as Credit Karma. It's not the only one out there. That's the one that I did. And then the second thing I would do is check your credit regularly, because there are going to be things on your credit from time to time that you're going to say, hey, that's not right. So make sure that you're monitoring your credit, right?
Right.
You always have to make sure that you pay your bills. It's not rocket science, right? Rocket science. It's not surgery. It's you have to pay your bills. You have to pay your rent, your mortgage, your car payment. If you want those new J's that just came out, did some new J's just come out?
You know what? I ain't
So see,
gonna lie to you. I don't
even get
know.
into that.
I don't think
But
so. I don't think so.
okay,
I don't
so
think
if
none
you want
dropped
to go
this.
on a trip, because I like to travel too. So if you want to go on that trip, but you say, you know what, I'm just gonna let this bill right here be late. You'll pay for it later. So make sure you pay your bills on time. And then lastly, I'm gonna say never be afraid to start over. Like if you there's another thing after this. Never be afraid to start over, even if you like mess up and say, okay, I didn't pay this bill on time. You can always start over. A lot of people be like, man, it's just you have to be disciplined to have good credit. It's not easy. I tell people all the time, they be like, well, how do you have to be disciplined. And then going into my last bullet, you have to have a budget. You cannot forget about your budget. I take my lunch to work, Cuddy, almost every day. And the
Mm.
reason I take my lunch to work almost every day is because I saw on social media probably about 3 or 4 years ago, before the pandemic. And they said, well, just manage the amount of money that you spend on lunch a day. Cuddy, I promise you. After I calculated how much money I spent on my lunch every day, like at the end of the month, I think I was right at 350, almost $400 for the month, Cuddy.
Mm.
See, people don't understand. There are no more $10 lunches anymore. So if you go out to lunch, you're probably
No.
going to spend $20 or better.
I'm gonna be honest with you. So with my job, I'm on the road every day. I'm on the
Mm-hmm.
road. I'm
Mm-hmm.
through Michigan and Ohio
Mm-hmm.
every day,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a good friend of mine that always talks shit about me because they know that I will pull over at a fast food restaurant, order something,
Okay.
and it will come back messed up, whatever it is. They be like, "Hey, you gonna take it back?" Nah, I ain't got time, bro. I'm throwing it away. They like, man, hold on. You just paid like $15 for that, $14 for that, $13. You just threw it away. Yeah. I ain't got time to go back. Like, cause I'm on a time period crunch.
Mm-hmm.
So then I might go get another break, go get something else. So at that point, I'd probably spent like $30
A
just to
day,
get
in
one
one day.
meal
In one day.
in one day. So the money that you spend in frivolously, like just going to the store getting a bag of chips like every day, adds up. The money that you would spend at these restaurants, fast food, adds up. Just anything that you do is kind of like you on a budget, but you just blowing it, and you thinking it's not that bad because you just like, oh, it's just some chips, oh, it's just McDonald's. But hey, McDonald's is $11, $12.
But don't get discouraged, Cuddy. And that's why I want to tell people. This thing is not going to happen. Like, you're not going to rebuild your credit overnight. You're not going to get disciplined overnight, right?
Right.
So all I'm saying is, once you make your budget, stick to it. When Friday comes, I just had this conversation with my sis, my homegirl here. We went out Friday. We listened to a phenomenal band. I'm talking about, Cuddy, this is the best band. Live music is my thing. I love it.
Right.
It's the best band I've ever heard in my life. I spent close to $50 that night. And keep in mind, I do not drink.
$50.
$50. She spent close to 60. She does drink.
Okay.
So we were supposed to go out because it's Memorial Day weekend. We were supposed to go out Saturday. We were supposed to go out Sunday. Me and her had a discussion. We said, hey, what about the budget? And then, Cuddy, guess what? I bought new appliances for my kitchen because I got a new floor. And that's kind of getting off the subject. But I went and bought new appliances for my kitchen because I
Right.
got a new floor. So I said to myself, okay, you just spent money on new appliances. You are well over the budget, right? Even though I planned for it. No, I ain't gonna front. I put some on my credit card, and I paid cash for some. But I put that on my credit card because there's no Okay, I'll put it to the listeners and the subscribers like this. The only thing I have that I the only debt that I have, my debt ratio is my properties.
Okay.
I have no other debt besides the money that I put on my credit card for my appliances on Saturday.
Right.
But we both decided that, you know what, we're not going to go out because we spent $50. Now add this up. If we were to spend $50 Friday, we were clearly going to spend about $50 on Saturday, and then we were supposed to go listen to the jazz festival at Piedmont Park. So we were gonna. By the time you go out on Friday or a night or two, you've already spent $100. If that's not in your budget, don't do it. So you got to be disciplined and you got to stick to that budget. You have got to stick to that budget. Now, going back to the money that I used to spend on lunch, I pay a bill with that now, Cuddy, because now that I take my lunch, now I do spend more at the grocery store, but then I just cook and then I take my lunch. So before I was still spending money at the grocery store, but I was just buying my lunch at work. So I'm still saving money. That $300-400 now goes towards the bill. And now that I'm, disciplined to the fact that I say, okay, I'm not going to spend money at work. I don't spend money at work, Cuddy, at all. I will make sure that I prepare. That's another thing that, we got to remember to do. If you don't prepare, you're going to end up spending more money.
So it's more or less making it a habit. What should be a healthy habit of you get into the routine of not spending money. You get into the routine of saving money and using it in other places that will benefit you later on. And it, like you said, it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to basically continue to do that until it's routine in your head. Now you're self-consciously doing these things without somebody telling you, hey, you have to save money. So let me ask you this. Say my credit's messed up. All right. Where do I start to try to rebuild my credit? Do I run out and try to pay off these debts? Am I running out, going file for Chapter 13? What am I doing to try to restart and rebuild my credit?
So the first thing that I would do is I would create an account with Credit Karma. Credit Karma is going to tell you everything that is listed on your credit, right?
Right.
Credit Karma will also tell you how many days delinquent everything is that's on your credit. So depending on your situation, I'm not going to say what you need to do as far as filing Chapter 13, Chapter 7, blah, blah. Your own situation is unique to you, so I don't know. But what I will say is if you have things on your credit and they're delinquent, you can always call the creditors and you can say, hey, how much will you take for me to pay this off? Trust me, rather than them getting that whole amount, they want something. Some of them are just going to say, no. I want the whole thing or whatever. And maybe you won't be able to do that. So set up a payment plan. You won't be able to set up a payment plan with everybody, but somebody, one of your creditors, they're going to want to work with you. Do you see what I'm saying? And then also, this is very important. I want any of our subscribers and anyone that sees this podcast, if you have any questions regarding your credit, and my best friend is a realtor. Cuddy, when I tell you, my best friend is Michelle Austin, and she's a realtor here with Keller Realtor, I think. She tells me that the housing market, right, where you used to could spend $250,000, $300,000 in Atlanta, and you could get a decent house, right? $250,000, $300,000 in Atlanta now will get you a shack, she says. And when I say a shack, you would have to rehab it, which means there is pretty much for $300,000, you're going to get a house as is. If you want a nice house in Atlanta, present day 2024, you coming with $450,000, $500,000, Cuddy. Easy. Now, see, Atlanta used to be one of these places where you could get a decent house for your family, a starter house, which is what my first house is. I think I bought my first house, Cuddy, no lie, for maybe $130,000. I kid you not, $130,000. Best investment I ever made. Right?
Correct.
You got a question?
So we're talking about the 130. We're talking about Atlanta. Now, that same property,
300.
That was my question.
I have a tenant.
That was my question.
My tenant says she's going to be in the house until she has a seventh grader, until he graduates. And that will be, I believe, 4 or 5 years. Should
Okay.
she decide, she's been in that rental property for 5 years, by the way. Great tenant. All during the pandemic, never missed a payment. That's a good tenant, knowing that I couldn't evict her if she didn't pay. So she said she's going to
Hold
be
on. Before you continue, I'm gonna get to that. I'm glad you said that.
Okay.
I got personal opinions with that, and we're gonna get to that in a second. But
Okay.
continue.
So she's going to be there until her son graduates because he's in that school district. So I was thinking, I said, okay, so in 5 years, the house will pretty much be paid for, Cuddy. I have 2 big decisions to make. I can either sell that property and skate with whatever the house is worth, which will probably be well over 300 then. I'm talking about in 5 years, Cuddy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Or I can continue to rent it. And then a lot of these Chase and a lot of these other big companies are buying up all the properties in Atlanta and everywhere else because they know that property value is going up. So I don't know if I'm going to sit on it. It's just something that I have to think about. And then, I'm always going to weigh, what makes money sense to me. Because if it don't make money, it don't make sense to me whatsoever. Now, in saying that, you're not for some. Okay, let's go to the apartment rentals. When my daughter was in school, we moved out of our first starter house. We
Right.
moved to Norcross because she wanted to play basketball in that district. And I don't go to jail, Cuddy, so I moved into the district to say I really lived in the district instead of lying so them people could catch me and lock me up. I actually moved to the district.
Right.
We applied for an apartment in the district of Norcross, Georgia. And I went there saying, okay, we're going to pay the first month's rent. And the plan was, Cuddy, seriously, the plan was for her to go to school for 4 years because she was a freshman. So 9th through 12th. She was going to graduate. Then we were going to move back to my original house. So that really wasn't going to be a rental property. It was just going to be a rental property while we stayed in the apartment while she goes to the school district. What happened is I applied for the apartment, and the leasing agent called me and she said, hey, because you have this credit score, we're going to waive the first month's rent. Cuddy. So listen, okay. So when you move into an apartment, it's been so long ago. It's been at least almost 7 years. So you have to pay the first month's rent and then down payment or security deposit. That's what it was.
Right.
So I had to pay the first month's rent like normal, but the security deposit, which is equivalent to the first month's rent, I didn't have to pay because of my credit score. That's big, people. That's big because I went there with, I think, in Cuddy, it was a Church's Chicken box where we lived in that apartment. That apartment, but I'll be real with you. It was very convenient. It was near 285, so not far from Lenox Square, not far from 285. Well, pretty much it had access to all, Dunwoody, and so I get it. It was 998 square feet. So I want to say it was probably about $1,020 or $30 or whatever. So
Okay.
then that money was able to stay in my pocket because of my credit score. So now let's flash forward to 2024. If you are going in Atlanta, I don't know about where you are, but if you are in Atlanta and you go and you try to lease an apartment, they're going to look at your credit and they want you to make, drum roll, 3 times.
Same here. I think that's across the board.
Who makes that? So,
yeah, that's across the board.
You know what that tells you? That tells you that either you got to be rolling in dough or you have to have a 2-income household.
Yeah.
So the days of being a single parent, a lot of, people who tell me that, they're struggling to pay this, they be like, I need help out here. You just can't do it by yourself anymore. And it's true. So it's either you got to have 2 jobs, Cuddy. Either you got in before this market became insane, buying a house or whatever, unless you got $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 to get the house that you want these days. Credit plays a role in everything you do. Everything.
Um, so this is my thing. Tori broke it down to y'all. She broke it down to y'all, and I'm gonna break it down to y'all in a different way. We're gonna start with what she said earlier about the pandemic.
Okay.
That was the biggest setup if I have ever seen one ever. They told people that if you are renting, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure this was worldwide. I mean, well, nationwide. If you're renting, that your landlord cannot evict you during the pandemic, and people took advantage of it.
They did.
People thought in their head that I don't have to pay rent during this pandemic. What? So let's break it all the way down. At the time, people were getting this not the PPE loan. They was getting the pandemic money, the unemployment pandemic, which is giving them basically like $900 every week, plus whatever they was getting. So if you was laid off, you got your like say $300 plus $900. So he's getting $1,200 a week, more than people was getting. Period. Anyway, that lasted for about a couple months. Then after those couple months, they broke it back down to like 600. So you got your 600 plus your unemployment. And that was cool. They did that for like about a couple months, about 6 months. Mm-hmm. So you was getting money in, but people didn't have to pay rent. So that's more money that they was saving.
No. Let me correct you.
I'm gonna get it.
People
in their
had
mind,
to pay rent.
you still had to pay it, but you didn't have to pay at that time. Right. You still owed it. So this is what I'm saying. People in their mind thought they didn't have to pay rent. I don't know why they thought that, but they was thinking that. So then when they lifted that, I believe that was in September of 2021, they lifted it, meaning now you got to pay all that back rent. So for all those, maybe was it 6 months? It was 6 months to 9 months that they put that in play.
Close to a year, Cuddy, and I'm gonna tell you. I was reading, maybe it was on the news, in 2022. So your dates are very, very accurate. 2022, Georgia had one of the largest eviction rates.
Exactly. My point that I was getting to.
Okay.
So once you started to have to pay that rent, every dollar that you didn't have to pay, you had to pay it right then and there. Mm-hmm. Now, some landlords was probably being nice and was like, oh, we give you 30 days to get it. But some was like, oh, they lifted it. Oh, now we need that money right now.
But Cuddy, let me inject something. A lot of people that I know lost their rental properties during the pandemic.
It was.
Let me tell you, just because the tenants were not paying their rent, the rent was still due.
Yeah.
By the landlord.
Oh yeah.
So the tenants were still staying in the properties, but the landlords could not afford to pay. And we're going to get into this also. Why for my second home they wanted a $8,500 or $10,000 down payment because they wanted to be they wanted me to show that I could come up with that money and be able to pay this mortgage and the mortgage at my rental property.
Right.
Most people cannot do that, right?
Right.
But thank God, my tenant was, when I tell you, she came through like a champ. Like, I don't even know what I was expecting because she went through some things during the pandemic also. She was in the medical field and, it was up and down. COVID is, she has kids, people were kind of frightened. She's in the medical field and she went through some things, but she always paid her rent. And I tell her to this day, shout it. ACL all day. Shout it. Thank you. Because I was able to maintain my rental property. A lot of people lost their properties, Cuddy. And when you lose your property like that, it's kind of hard to rebound from that. You have to kind of rebuild to be able to say, okay, I can afford where I am now. Of course, you're going to pay your primary residence. You're going to pay that mortgage. That rental property is something that had to fall off because your tenant wasn't paying. So it's also important that you don't bite off more than you can chew, like with a primary residence. And if you want to secure a rental property, it's unheard of now. Like, you got to have some dough to have more than one. Really, People looking at you now, like if you got a house, they thinking that you doing it. You got more than one property, they really
And
thinking you doing it.
it never hits you when you coming of age, unless you were taught that somebody showed you early on about the difference of credit and cash, and the importance of what your credit means to your future. If you didn't know that, like a lot of, like, just speaking from our culture, a lot of black kids are not taught about credit. A lot of black kids grow up and you find out credit when you in your 30s and 40s, not like trying to figure it out. Okay, now what did I do? So it goes to the second point of tonight's topic. Some of the pitfalls that you make as a college student will set you back to where you now looking at yourself like, dang, if I'd have did this, I would have been in a better position. One thing that they do is these schools, they love to give you loans. So let me see. College is going to run you close to 100-some thousand.
Right.
When I'm going to say my age, in 98, when I went to college, I think for 4 years, college was like 60,000. I think it was like 60,000. It was like kind of like 12,000 a year. That's including like room and board. Now over the years, of course, it's going, inflating, it's out the roof. Yes. But for every dollar you don't have or you can't put down, they will find a loan to give you so you can pay them back. Yep. Now you're gonna spend the rest of your life paying them back. Now that's the game. You're gonna spend the rest of your life paying them back. But the crazy part is, if you go out as an 18-year-old and you want to go to college and you need 50, 60, 70,000, they give it to you no problem.
Yep.
Just sign this little letter.
Yep.
You can get this 60, 70,000 in about 10 minutes. Now try to go into a bank and get a loan for a house.
It ain't happening.
Go in and try to get a loan for a car, for medical procedure, whatever you wanted to get. You're not finna get none of that money. You're not even, matter of fact, I'm gonna be real honest. You're not even gonna get $500 from the bank.
Right.
If you don't have $500 to show them, they're not gonna give you $500. But this college will give you $90,000, $120,000. You can run up to $300,000 worth of debt. They will give it to you no problem. Now,
wait a minute, Cuddy. What if you go to grad school?
Oh,
right?
That's another. We not even gotten to that part. We still undergrad. Now the crazy part is this: what they don't tell you is once you signing over these loans, whatever is remaining on your balance for the year, they cut you a check. So average kid get that check. I spoke about this last episode.
You did.
You get that check. You telling an 18-year-old, here go $5,000. What do you think that 18-year-old is gonna do? It's gonna buy clothes. It's gonna buy some jewelry. If that, they're gonna eat all type of food, roof crest, everything that they possibly could think of. Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but they gonna spend that money so fast.
Yes.
Next part, here come the credit cards. Like I said, they're gonna be offering you credit cards up the ass. You gonna sign up for it. Now you got emergency money in your mind because you don't realize, okay, this credit is still rolling. No matter if you pay it or don't pay it, use it or don't use it. Once you went ahead and signed it, it's ready to go. So now you can call and activate that card. Okay, you can set up your PIN. Now the time clock is ticking on your credit, and you don't even know. So now you can spend all your money. Now you got that credit card. Now what's this? Emergency money. Oh, I gotta get mom's a gift for Christmas. Oh, my girl, she want these shoes. Valentine's Day coming up, so you can spend this credit card. Now you maxed it out. Boom, they gonna give you another one. You maxed it out. By the time you got to say your junior year, you probably about a good $150,000 in debt, easy.
Does that include the credit cards?
That's including the credit cards. Okay. That's including. So we talking about your loan because we ain't even got to your senior year yet. Now you got to figure out what you're going to do as far as a job. So now once you get that degree, God bless you if you got it, you got you a job probably paying you maybe about $47,000 that year. But you owe 200-something thousand now. How does that even equate?
Jesus, let's say $60K. They done been in school 4 years. Let's say $60K.
What?
No.
It depends on the field that you're going into, and it also depends on the location of the job. Now here in Michigan, just say you going to social work. You go into social work, you might get a starting job in social work, probably maybe 49,000. You lucky you get 50,000. Say you going to be a teacher, they definitely not getting paid 60,000.
Jesus.
Yeah,
And then you can't get a house. Well,
no,
you can't get a house these days with that kind of money. You just can't do
no,
it.
no. That's why you see
Um,
a lot
um,
of
um,
teachers freelancing.
yeah, let me touch on this. Let me touch on this fact too. When I talk about being disciplined with your credit, if you have a credit card and your limit is $1,500, please stay well under that limit, because the closer you get to your limit, the further your credit score drops. I don't know if people know that. It's the
No,
debt to ratio. Like, if you have a 1,500, please always leave some wiggle room. Like, just because okay, Cuddy, if I qualify for a $600,000 house, I'm gonna stay in the 475,000 area, because even if you do have a two-income household, if something could happen to your partner, you
right.
always want to be able to maintain if something happens to your partner. If you qualify for a $600,000 house, why get a $600,000 house and you can't maintain the payment if something happens to your partner? My grandma always taught me, one monkey don't stop no show. So no matter what happens, you have to be able to carry on. And I've always remembered that if I have a $1,500 limit on a credit card, Credit Karma. Oh, speaking of that, Credit Karma emailed me the other day to let me know. So not only do you check Credit Karma regularly to make sure that you don't have any fraudulent charges on your credit, but they also notify you if something new shows up, and that's
Oh yeah,
important, because a lot of times we're busy doing stuff. Really, before I got back home, they told me, "Hey, there's a new charge on your account." Thank you, I know that I did it, but just say that I didn't do it, I would be on it that fast, same day. So it's just important that you have somebody to monitor your credit. Like, you, Cuddy, you can't, and it's because of my credit score too. So I have several credit monitoring systems applied to my credit. In fact, my credit is locked. So before I do anything like a big purchase, not like the appliances, I mean a big purchase like a car or anything over 5K, right?
right.
I have to unlock it. My credit is frozen.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is for obvious reasons. Like, you have to, there's a password. Like, even if you get my social security number, right? There's a password, and then there's an additional code. They're just like levels that you have to go through, that they make sure that it's me before they allow these big purchases to be made. Because let me tell you, Atlanta is the land of the scammers.
Yo, I'm, I'm pretty sure you know about a certain scam that's going on. Since we're talking about credit and we're talking about just renting property, we discussed how you have to make three times the amount of rent
Mm-hmm.
to rent anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the new scam is I can go to somebody and they can go ahead and print me up some fake check stubs, or
Mm-hmm.
and it shows that I make that three so I can get in. Like, these are the scams that are countering everything that they're putting in place
Right.
because of whatever reason. Now, I don't know what the reason was to make it the three times the amount that you have to make to live at a certain place. Don't know. But of course the scams are going to go up. So then when that happens, you got the other side. Now they're going to do more to protect against that scam. Now you got to show more than just some check stubs. Now we got to call such job and get permission to call your job and get the verification that you know. And now it creates this whole little mountain on this side. But as a scammer, they're gonna keep coming up with different ways to counteract, and then it just
Yeah.
becomes this. And now the average person that's doing what they supposed to do is
Mm-hmm.
getting fucked in the middle.
So let me tell you now what a lot of apartments and houses. Well, a house you have to go. When I tell you, you got to go to Asia, you everywhere. You got to go everywhere to get a house. I'm talking about you. You got to go round and round and round. Like, the week before I closed on my second property, they called my boss. I know they called the attorney. I know 5 times just to make sure that I was still employed. And before, before I closed, they called the week of. I was like, but y'all just called a few weeks ago. That's just how thorough they are. So if you're renting an apartment, and let's just say you know somebody who print check stubs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, guess what they're requiring? We need your income tax, and then we need to send. This is what we need. We have to send a code to the IRS, and we need to see that what your income says on here matches what you put, what these check stubs say. So there's a code, and they did it to me. There's a code that they sent to the IRS. You give them, because you just can't get anybody's tax info. Like if you file your taxes electronically, they'll say, did you file paper? Did you file electronically? I filed electronically. Okay. You have to send a code to the IRS, and then the IRS will send them confirmation that those tax documents because the scammers can print tax documents too.
Yeah.
So they say we need confirmation that the tax documents that were presented to us match your records. So that's also something that they're doing. And there is no way you can get around those IRS tax papers.
You leave them 3 letters alone.
Yes.
Don't complain with them.
Yes.
Do not complain with them 3 letters at all.
Now, I'm not saying, hey, the system is, not set up for us to succeed. I will be the first to say that. I personally, and I've said this before, I believe that if you have made mistakes before doing whatever, I feel like you deserve a second chance. Now, I'm not talking about child molesters and stuff like that. I'm talking about if you have a felony or, that type of thing. I feel like if you've paid your debt, I feel like you deserve a second chance. I don't think that if someone has a felony, they should not be able to not move in a certain place or not get a job here. Everybody got to make a living, Cuddy. Right. I'm just saying, I believe in second chances. That's what I'm saying. So the system, a lot of times, is set up for, people. People keep running to brick walls, and like Pac said, I'm gonna knock on the door the first couple times, and the third or fourth time, I'm kicking the door in.
Coming in through a window.
I mean, I get it, but I'm just simply saying, I'm giving you different avenues to, set yourself up the proper way should you decide to go that way. That's all I'm saying. This is a judgment-free zone here. I'm simply saying there's a different way that you can build your credit to be legit. Because when it comes down to it, and Atlanta, Detroit, this generation is full of entrepreneurs, and I love it. I love the way the young generation wants to work for themselves. I love it. But just make sure that when you telling people, I'm getting my bag, I'm about my bag, make sure your credit is included in that bag, because you can walk around with no cash at all. And you have that real heavy Amex card.
You get whatever you want. That black card.
It can either be black or it can be gold. But it's real heavy. It's just not your average, credit card. That mean business. Like when people feel that card, they be like, okay, I already know what this is. It's just not your average credit card. So that's what I'm saying. That's just not the only bag. Cash is not the only bag that you should secure or that you should want to. And make sure you talk to your kids about how important that credit is. My son went to a private school, Cuddy. Padea, shout out to Padea. Private school. It's in down Ponce de Leon in Atlanta. A lot of people probably know it. Couple celebs, kids went to that school. They teach credit there.
And that's very rare. Because those inner city schools do not teach credit.
The curriculum is not the same. And that is why, I said my daughter wanted to go to a particular school. I moved to that district because I know that the curriculum is different. People can't tell me, if you are in Atlanta, you know anything about APD, Atlanta Public Schools, Decatur City Schools. Decatur City Schools had a different grading system. That's my school system. Decatur City Schools, in order to get an A, Cuddy, our grading system was 5 points above Decatur. When I say Decatur, I mean your Candler Road, Southwest DeKalb. City of Decatur is different than Candler Road and all those. So And then when people meet me and they say, "Hey, where you from?" "I'm from Atlanta." "Well, you don't talk like you're from Atlanta." And none of my friends talk like they're from Atlanta. Me and my friends talk like we're from city of Decatur, because this is the school we went to. This is how we had to articulate.
Right.
This is how we speak. Now, I do say shouty. I do say a lot. I am a graded baby from day one. But most of my friends, me and my friends, we talk like this. But we are also from city of Decatur, which I might add, we cannot afford to live over there anymore, because everything in city of Decatur is 700, 800, 900, $1 million now.
Mm.
Okay?
Times can change.
Gentrification. That's what you call it.
Yeah.
So
Times can change.
they moved us out and they moved them in.
Now, like you said, if you're ever rebuilding your credit right now, like if your viewers, and you're going through whatever, restarting, you just filed chapter 7 or chapter 13 or whatever it was, and you coming out of that, and you're getting your credit together. If you have a teenage child, even if you have a younger child, like 10, 11, it's never too young to start them to understand what credit is. Walk them through the process with you. They should be seeing what you're going through and why you went through it, so they don't make that same mistake. And a lot of times that's what we end up doing. We make the same mistakes our parents made, because our parents didn't disclose that information because they were calling themselves protecting us from that information, when it's really nothing to protect you from. It's just, this is why I went through this.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to see why I went through it, so you don't go through the same thing.
Right.
And that's another thing that we should do as parents. And it's just, even if you got like a niece or a nephew and you ain't got no kids,
Mm-hmm.
hey, break it down, because their parents might not understand credit. You might understand credit a little bit. Give them that information, and then they can just keep on. Then they can go to their friends. Hey, you heard about, man, this credit, this, because I do Credit Karma. Credit Karma will do this. Credit Karma lets you know what you're doing right. So they'll send you a notification saying that, oh, you are on track. You're
Right.
paying, like, you've been paying all your bills, and that gives you more assurance that what you're doing is the right thing to
And
do, and
guess
it
what they
keeps and
also say,
boosting you.
Cuddy? You are using 10% of your
Yeah.
spending power. They encourage you to stay on track and that type of thing. I'm gonna tell you what I did with both of my kids, who have good credit, by the way. Um, I went to Chase, and now I'm not a paid sponsor by any of these people, mind you. But
But we
this
will take it though if y'all want. We will take it now. We will take them.
I will take it. But I'm just simply saying, I went to Chase. I got both of them a, I think they call it it's like a teenage debit card. The
Okay.
only difference in their credit card, their debit card, and my debit card is, you know how an adult debit card will let you overspend and then charge you overdraft fees?
Right.
Whatever the kid has in their account is the only thing that they can spend, and that will develop discipline for them. So
Right.
if my daughter had $25 on her card and she spends $24.75, she actually has a quarter left.
Yeah.
It will not let you go over that, and then that will develop healthy spending habits for them. So in addition to talking to your kids about credit, I will tell them to get them that, and it doesn't have to be Chase. I think a lot of them have, because a lot of these banks try to work with you to say, hey, get your kid, a car so that they can develop. These kids don't want cash anyway, Cuddy.
No.
Everything these kids do, they do on cars or Cash App card and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they will appreciate the fact that they have a Chase card or whatever. And then as they get older, you know, my son is in a Navy, so he really didn't need me to do this. But my daughter, I just added her as a applicant on one of my cars. Credit score shot up, Cuddy. So you want to be able to be in that kind of position to help your kid. You see what I'm
And
saying? That is generational, what you call generational wealth. To show them, hey, now she still shop a lot. Like I said, I ain't even about to lie about that. But when it comes to her credit, it's A1. And I'm talking about this a young girl, and her credit is like top. Okay, so Credit Karma tells me also, and this is people. I'm simply telling you. Cuddy has already told you how Credit Karma will, tell you little things about your credit, what's going on. Credit Karma tells me in my age bracket, I am in the top 10% of the highest scores in my age bracket. So that kind of encouragement also keeps you on point. It makes you say, let me stick to this budget. Let me allow me to do this. Because, I mean, financially, none of us know what's going to go on, Cuddy. Seriously.
Right.
Why not be in a position in case you have to, God forbid, catch a flight out somewhere or help somebody, in your family or whatever. You want to put yourself in a position that you're able to, be stable for yourself and for your family. See, the stuff that we spend money on, and that's one of the reasons why I like my hair, Cuddy, because I was spending so much money on hair products, Black people find so much stuff to spend money on. That's on another show. We have the highest spending dollar in America, yet we own no stores in our communities.
No.
We own no properties in our community. We just got to get smart about this thing. If we as Black people ever get our spending habits together, we will be fierce.
I'm gonna say this because this might start a whole nother show. It's two different things. And I love Credit Karma too. Credit Karma also will help you save money because they will let you know if you can be paying less for car insurance or house insurance or anything like that than what you is. They'll say that with your credit score, you are able to save this amount of money, and then you can go about that way, take that extra bit of money, stash it away, put it towards whatever you're trying to put it towards. So I'm just saying. But I think it's this. For a long time, we look at the keeping up with the Joneses. And I would say in today's society, keeping up with Joneses is watching whatever's on social media, which is watching on TV.
The
We can
rappers.
talk about the rappers, the reality shows, the housewives, the whatever the case may be. We want to keep up with that. And that right there sets us back as a people because now we don't, like you said, if you got approved for a $600,000 house, we see Nene Leaks might got the $700,000 house. Oh, I got approved for $700,000. Let me go get that same house. So then now you're trying to be what you see on TV, or you're trying to be like what you see on TV, and then that right there, that's not teaching us healthy habits.
Right.
That's teaching us actually how to go deeper into debt. So, like I said, our influences, how we are the top spending out of all of the different nationalities and races, but we have less than what these people have because we're steady going backwards and not forwards, and not trying to build and understand that, yeah, we got this money and this power while we don't use it.
Right.
Another show.
Yeah, wait. Now, another thing I want to say is when I say discipline, you have to be disciplined in order to see somebody living a certain way because you don't know what they did to get in the house. You don't know what they did to keep what they're doing to keep that house. If you see somebody driving this or whatever, them new trucks. I saw one on the road the other day, the crazy rectangular looking truck.
Oh yeah.
What's them called?
I hate them. What is them things? I call them the armored tanks, man.
If you see somebody driving that, or it don't even have to be that. If you see somebody driving the Flyers in Atlanta, all I hear is these loud muscle cars. So the Challengers, the Chargers, the Hellcats, the all that. If you see somebody driving that 40, 50, whatever, souped up, loud car, I hate them. You don't know what these people, your time is coming. Be disciplined enough to say, you know what, maybe one day. Because let me say something. I got a Toyota Camry, a Toyota Corolla, and a Toyota Camry. Now, I will say I do have a little something to floss in. But Monday through Friday, you're going to see me in my Toyota Camry. I don't get into stuff like that. Now, is it okay to have stuff? It absolutely is. But you just got to know when you can afford it. You can't have a $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 car and you pulling up to an apartment every day. Financially, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm not telling you what to do. But financially, it doesn't make sense. Last thing I want to say about this credit. Date within your bracket. A lot of these men and women are dating outside of their bracket. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you have a high dollar woman and you know you can't afford her, Maybe it's just like that house and that car. You're going to have your time with her,
Right.
but you got to be disciplined and date within your bracket, because if she high dollar, don't think that she going to stop being high dollar just because she's dating you. She's not. You Dating is one of the most expensive things that we do.
Man, and you don't understand.
Date
You
within
don't.
your price bracket. And
You
that's parentheses. It's
you will go out of your. You will go out of your pocket, out of your mind, out of your body to get with somebody that, if you don't present this certain image, man, you don't have a chance.
correct.
And then all you're gonna do is be cutting your throat, slicing your wrist, cutting off an arm, trying to please this person. But if they find out that you really can't afford them, then they're gone, and you lost all that stuff that you was trying to, that money that you was borrowing and getting all these loans and all this stuff to floss for this person. You doubled that. You ain't got the woman or the money.
Now, Cuddy, I'm going to tell you, this right here was to me so important. I think this is going to be part one.
Oh, it's
And
be
I
like
think we
part.
need to do a part two, because I think we're going to have questions that we need to address. And then there's some more things that I need to elaborate on and dig a little deeper. And so when I feel like anything that we talk about can help, our subscribers, our listeners, I'm willing to do it. I'm pretty sure that there are going to be some questions that, I missed, or it's something that I need to touch on. And, we probably need to do a part two of this.
Oh, for sure. So this is what I got. This is your homework, people. Do me a favor. I want y'all to either in the comments, or I will be posting on the Facebook page as well as the Instagram page. What are some of the credit mistakes you have made, and what's some of the ways that you have turned your credit around if you're rebuilding your credit? Or what are some of the ways that if you have any questions about rebuilding your credit, hit us up, man. We could figure it out together.
Yes.
That's the only way you gonna ever get this this thing behind you, is if you get the information and you ask questions. Because nobody's just gonna wake up one day and be like, I know how to do my credit.
Right.
It's not gonna
and
happen.
No question is a dumb question. Not one. So
Right.
It doesn't matter how silly or whatever you think the question is, we welcome it and we're here to help.
Yo, man, we talked about before we go, your kids, your nephews, your nieces, if they're in college, tell them to understand the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized loans, and tell them to watch those interest rates on those loans. They will rape you over and over on those interest rates. That is the thing. They might give you $30,000, but that interest rate is going to tell you how much you're going to pay back, and you don't want to see what they want you to pay back. I'm telling you right now. So tell them to keep an eye on that. And we, like I said, hey, do the homework, ask the questions. We come back with a part two, because this is a lot of stuff we definitely got to get to.
Yep.
Toy, another fire show, man, for the people, man. Another fire show. Oh, before we go, I want to let everybody know we are now on Spotify. We're on Stitcher. We're on Amazon Music. By the time this airs, we should be on Pandora and iHeartRadio, as well as Apple. So iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast, you can now listen to us. You don't just have to go to YouTube, but if you want to see us, you definitely gonna get to YouTube, because YouTube will get this podcast first, and then all of the streaming services will get it the day after. So, y'all can get us on YouTube on Friday mornings. And on Saturday, y'all can listen to us wherever y'all listen to podcasts. So you know how we do.
What are our numbers? What are our subscriber numbers?
Right now, we're at 22,000. 22,000. We actually got to 20,000 quicker than we got to 10,000. I don't know how that even possible.
But I'm happy. Whatever reason.
Exactly. But we steady pushing. Like I said, the goal is always 1 million and plus, and we're gonna continue to work. And everybody that's out there with us, man, from the beginning to right now. Thank y'all. You know what I'm saying? We clapping it up for y'all right now, because that's what it is.
It's because of you that we do what we do, and that's what we're here for.
So, like I said, man, continue to Get those likes and those comments and those subscribers over at YouTube as well as over the other streaming services. You can follow us. You can download the show. So if you don't listen, you can listen later on. You can continue to listen. We're just going to continue to get bigger and better. And we also have a new logo.
Yes,
It's over in the corner. We got a new
and it's
logo.
so sexy.
And we will have merch coming soon.
Yes.
So stay tuned with that. And any last words for the people for tonight?
Okay, so today is May the 27th. We want to say happy birthday to all the people who have made birthdays, and June is coming. Happy birthday to all the June birthdays. My best friend's birthday is June 12th, and my mom's birthday is June 16th. My dad's birthday is June 24th. My daughter's birthday is June 25th. So all the June birthdays, happy birthday. You can follow me at Toy the ATL Vegan on IG. And we look forward to doing a part 2. And we're just so thankful for you. I'm humbled.
Yo, hey, we're going to continue to push it. We definitely got a lot of different things moving in this universe. And, thank y'all for y'all love and support. And you know my famous words. Hey, love on somebody. Love on your neighbor. Love on your friend. Love on somebody that you haven't talked to in a while. If it's a family member or somebody at work that might look like they having a hard time. Love on them. Because you never know, man. Tomorrow is not promised to none of us. All right? Yo, we are out, man. We'll see y'all next time, next week. Yo, thank you for another dope show. Toy, until next time, we out.
Peace.
Holla.
They see me out in V like, but don't talk it all. That's really not the truth, I just don't fuck with y'all. I'm only with a few and yeah, my circle small. Or either by my Danny Ruger in my drawers. Ain't trying to be no tough guy, it's just how I'm raised. The softest niggas gangster in the mid-state.